more advanced tools for editing the images. The first one will be spot removal. So over here on the bottom of the image, we can see that the reflection of the light. By using the spot removal tool over here, after adjusting the size of the brush, and then click on it, now it's gone. Lightroom does a pretty good job generally. Second one is to match the exposure of the object. For images like these or over here, we can clearly see that the exposure are not right, either underexposed or overexposed. But when the exposure is pretty subtle, we need to use a more quantitative style to normalize the exposures, especially for the exposure for the object themselves. So for doing this, we can zoom in the image quite a bit so that our object is mostly filled by our crop. And then we can see over here in this image, the background is gray. In our histogram is the most right line over here, and then our object is pretty brown or yellowish, and that's represented in the red over here. In order to normalize the objects, I am doing to shift the exposure of the highlights to match the 75 percentile of the histogram, which is a very subtle line over here. You can see, and then we can drag the exposure over here. Now we can see that the red is crossed with the line, and then by doing so, especially for all the images, we can guarantee that the exposure of the object themselves would be pretty close. The third one I want to talk about is the adjustment for the local exposure. Just say if I think that the top right corner, especially for the background, is a little bit on the brighter side, I can use like a linear gradient or like a different kind of gradient tool to adjust the luminance. So I can create a mask, something like this, and then dial in a negative exposure, and then something like that. I feel like now the gradient tool has matched our exposure quite well. And then here are the three tools.